James Jeffley. Pardon me, James Jeffley. Dial it up, James Jeffley.
I sometimes marvel at how much we all have in common. We all like speeches, good ones. We're all members of the same race, human. And we all want to have, do, or be something a little different, something a little better. Isn't that right, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests? How many of us want to dial some part of our life up to a higher level? Turn and face someone next to you. And I want you to say to this person with power, clarity, and conviction, up yours. Let me explain. In addition to being a coach, trainer, speaker, and author, I'm also a minister. I'm known as Reverend Up. And so when I say up yours, I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it as an invitation. It is an invitation to raise every part of your life up to a higher level of peace, a higher level of prosperity, a higher level of achievement, a higher level of consciousness. And if this is where leaders are made, and we're going to tackle some of the problems out in the world, we need to up ours. I take the philosophy of up very seriously. If I still drank soda, my beverage would be 7 Up. I'd ship all my packages UPS. I'd get my theme music from James Brown. Get on up. Get on up, get on the scene. So you know what I mean. I take up seriously. That's why I joined Toastmasters, because I wanted to up my speaking skills. Even after years of preaching, teaching, coaching, and training, there's still things I want to learn. There's still things I want to improve. I lead a varied and interesting life, playing music, working in different spiritual communities, with family, friends, colleagues, among all the other things that I mentioned. And believe it or not, there are times when Reverend Up is actually down. There are times when I am confronted by the challenges of life, and I forget some of those things that I preach and teach about. There have been times when I have experienced pain, hurt, betrayal, loss. I've lost money, opportunities, friends, relationships. I've lost pets. I've lost a child. And through it all, there have always been a few things I could turn to help lift me back up from a down place. And I'd like to share 3 of those things with you. So in case you might experience your own version of the dark night of the soul as I have, perhaps they'll be of some service to you. First thing I do to lift myself up is I go outside. If I'm feeling down, there's a voice inside that says, get outside. And when I go outside and I connect with the higher vibration that is nature, in that moment, I'm calmer. It doesn't fix my problem. It just changes me so that I can deal with my problem a little better. When I look outside, I don't see any conflict. The grass isn't fighting with the trees, and the birds aren't arguing with the bees. And if the pines are whispering, they're not saying anything about me. And even if it's cloudy, I remember all those trips on planes where we would take off in a storm, and after a few moments, the plane would break through the clouds, and there it was. The sun was always shining, which is a reminder to me that I too must rise above my circumstances. Second thing I do to up mine is I get more sleep. There was a Gallup poll at the end of last year that said 43% of Americans do not get the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. I know what some of you are thinking, man, what I wouldn't do with 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Sleep is important. It allows the body to repair and regenerate itself. At the University of Rochester Medical Center, they did a study where they identified a mechanism in the brain that washes away all of the toxins that accumulate while we're awake. Here's the catch. It only activates when we're asleep. Lack of sleep has been linked to increased stress, reduced mental functioning, and weight gain. Note to self, catch more Z's. The third thing I do to up myself is I limit my exposure to negative ideas and negative people. And I do this in a couple of ways. Number one, I'll go on a 24-hour news blackout. I won't watch it, listen to it, read about it, stumble across it on Facebook or Twitter, won't talk about it with my friends. Because let's face it, for as long as we can remember watching the news, haven't we heard the same negative stories? Tonight's top stories: war, crime, death, poverty, death, destruction, mayhem, somebody done somebody wrong. Your team lost. And we've heard that story recently. I'm not saying don't be informed. I'm saying let's not allow ourselves to be negatively programmed. Our brain is just a mental computer. We process input, we create output. If I don't like the output of my life, I've got to change the input. Garbage in, garbage out. The second thing I do is I surround myself with positive people, energizing, uplifting people, people who are making things happen in their life and making me smile while I watch them. Now, if you don't have anybody like that in your life, I would encourage you to find some folks like that in your life. As the old saying goes, if you can't change your friends, change your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think of one part of your life that you'd like to dial up to a higher level. And I'd like you to think of one step that you can take right away to get yourself started. I'm not saying change is easy, it rarely is. I'm saying if you want to have better, you got to do something different. And don't do it by yourself. Find somebody who wants to change and grow with you and help each other out. If everyone helps, everyone wins. I said at the beginning that we all have a lot of things in common. Here's one more thing we have in common. We have all had the power to make our lives exactly the way they are. You know what else is true? We all have the power to make our lives exactly the way we want. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your life. Up yours. Madam Toastmaster.